we're here for a reason. If we give up, there's no point in us being here.
On this episode of The Sight Picture, fear wasn't a factor for this challenge. 13 soldiers compete to be named Best Warrior. Thanks for the memories. More work has been done on the Stuart tank that was featured on the first episode of The Sight Picture. And have you qualified with your weapon lately? Then take a knee for this story, because things have changed. You don't have to sign a hand receipt for this episode. You're on The Sight Picture, right here, right now. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Sight Picture, shooting on location at Compass Course 2 during the 2007 88th Regional Readiness Command's Best Warrior competition held at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. I'm Sergeant First Class Chris Farley. The 88th RRC recently renamed its NCO and soldier competition, and also redesigned the soldier event to be more relevant to what the Army soldier is today, a warrior and a war fighter. Sergeant Josh Twerberg has the story.
How does the Sight Picture staff find their way through a land navigation course? We follow someone. In this case, we followed Staff Sergeant Joseph Bissett. Bissett represented the 863rd Engineer Battalion in the 2007 88th Regional Readiness Command's Best Warrior competition. 13 competitors from various 88th units took part in the competition. These Blue Devils competed in 7 events, including weapons qualification featuring the new kneeling position, a physical fitness test, various warrior tasks, an appearance board, and other soldier skills. This is the first time the 88th has included all of these events in a competition.
This is the first year of the 88th RRC's Best Warrior competition, where we actually replicate what they do at the Department of Army, the FORSCOM, and even the USARC level, whereas in the past, the 88th has only done just a board type of competition. So we wanted to come or closely replicate what they do at that level to better prepare our soldiers.
The Best Warrior candidates didn't take this as just a competition between their peers, but a way to better themselves.
That's why we're here. We're here to compete and show that who's the best soldier, or to see in each event how we do, and testing ourselves. We're not just competing against those guys. We're competing against ourselves as well. So if you're not willing to give it everything you got, there's no point to even be here.
Congratulations to this year's Best Warriors. The best NCO was Sergeant Randall Krug, and the best soldier was Specialist, now Sergeant Bernard Brock. If you're interested in competing in next year's Best Warrior competition, take some advice from the 2006 88th and USARC Soldier of the Year.
If you want to compete next year, the first thing I would try to do is get on your command and nominate you. There's commands that didn't send anyone. There's somebody out there that's good in every unit to go to these things. If you don't have anyone in your unit that can get you ready, there's places you can contact. You can get with someone in your command and get with myself or Sergeant Rupp or this year's winner or whatever. Get with somebody, get some information on it, know what to study, know what to get ready for.
Reporting for The Sight Picture, I'm Sergeant Josh Twerberg.
3, 2, 1, time.
Do you remember Hugo? The World War II Stuart tank the Fort Snelling Military Museum volunteers were refurbishing on the first episode of The Sight Picture? In this next story, I give you a situation report on the progress of the tank. What's a tank without a large caliber gun? What could be mistaken as an armored personnel carrier with a sunroof is actually a World War II Stuart M5A1 tank being refurbished by the Fort Snelling Military Museum volunteers. The volunteers removed the turret from its tank body over 4 years ago.
You basically take one thing, fix it, and then move on. But as far as the turret is concerned, you end up having to do the inside with as much stuff out of the turret as you can get out of it so that you have access to nooks and corners and crannies. Otherwise, it gets really tight in there.
The tank, nicknamed Hugo, was in terrible condition and parts were either stripped or missing. This made refurbishing Hugo difficult.
It's a flower pot. I mean, like if you go to Fort Bragg or Fort Bliss, Fort Hood, you'll see all these tanks and other vehicles in front of buildings. They don't run, they don't work. They're flower pots. They're just hoard ornaments, and these guys took it and turned it around, made it fully operational, fully functional tank.
Okay, you guys all set? Okay.
On a gloomy day in May, the Fort Snelling Military Museum volunteers were finally ready for the next step in restoring Yugo. And that step was giving Yugo back its tankhood by reattaching the turret back to its body and making it a whole tank again. It was crucial to keep the turret balanced on the stand to keep it from rolling off. The volunteers used a crane to carefully lift the turret to prevent any damage.
We'll tighten everything up. We'll get a little Permatex. We'll brush this on, just make sure that the rust is stopped and we don't have a problem with it, and then we'll go from there. That'll be the next step, will be to put it in the tank then.
Finally, the crane lowered and kept the turret balanced so it would slide in the tank hull easily.
We've spent so much time on this thing. You hate to damage something, you know, at the crowning glory when you're going to put the turret back into the tank.
The Fort Snelling Military Museum volunteers still have a little work left to do on the tank, but they're now starting to take it out in public and display it. A little side note on the tank. As you see, the tank comes equipped with one 37mm gun that fires only one round and must be hand-fed from inside the turret. The tank also comes equipped with two 30-caliber machine guns. But enough about the tank. It's raining. I'm hungry. So reporting from the site picture, I'm Staff Sergeant Chris Farley. Hey pal, let's hit drive-through.
Hi, this is Jerry Seinfeld saying happy 100th anniversary to the Army Reserve. Great going. 100 years. I remember every one of them.
When was the last time you qualified with an M16? I ask because the standards have changed.
This year's 88th RRC Best Warrior competition included an M16 record fire. This warrior event isn't unusual and is common for this competition. What candidates weren't expecting was firing from a kneeling position.
We didn't know about it until we got to the range, and it was kind of a surprise, but it's also a challenge. You know, I've never done it before. Let's see what happens.
In 2006, FM 3-22.9, the Army Rifle Marksmanship Manual, was updated to give commanders more options to train soldiers going to war. The manual states that the record fire course provides for the engagement of one 20-round exercise and two 10-round exercises. 20 single or multiple targets are engaged from the prone supported or, at the commander's discretion, the foxhole supported firing position. 10 targets are engaged from the prone unsupported position, and 10 targets are engaged from the kneeling position.
It was the first time that I shoot on the kneeling position, and I found it more comfortable than the prone unsupported, and in which I hit all my targets on the kneeling position. So it's, you know, it's different.
What hasn't changed is the number of rounds and targets you have to engage with your weapon and the qualification standards. Reporting for the Site Picture, I'm Sergeant Josh Twerberg.
Before we shoot an azimuth and try and find our end point, let's see what we've got going on for the next episode of the Site Picture. We low crawl into the family circle and let Army Reserve Family Programs and Child Youth Services take the point and host the next episode of the Site Picture. Thank you for watching The Site Picture, the only video magazine dedicated to telling the Blue Devil story. I'm Sergeant First Class Chris Farley saying, keep us in your Site Picture, and we'll see you next time